This is the conclusion to the Darkseid War, and a lot has happened. I'll give you a fast rundown, but I recommend watching the playlist down below. The Anti-Monitor fought against Darkseid, and using the power of the gods, he managed to kill Darkseid. This upset the universe, as the Justice League became the new gods of the universe in their own rights. Flash, god of death. Batman, god of knowledge. Superman, god of strength. Lex Luther, god of apocalypse. Shazam, god of gods. Hal Jordan was concerned over the actions that Batman was going to take in Gotham City as the god of knowledge. He became this god when he took a chair from the new god Metron, a chair that contained the knowledge of the entire universe, past and present. Batman tells him, "I'm never leaving this chair." And Hal asks him, "How did you know I was gonna ask that?" "I could read your mind, Jordan. This chair has equipped me with the knowledge needed to save Gotham." "So why did my ring find you here? In Ace Chemicals? What is this place?" "This is where the Joker." "Something's wrong. Superman. He's in trouble?" "He is the trouble." Meanwhile, over with Wonder Woman, she is battling against Superman, the god of strength, ever since he was overpowered by the fire pits of Apocalypse. He blasts her into a car, demanding that she fight him properly. She refuses, putting her sword away, and then she runs at him, jumping over him, getting her lasso around him. "You need my help, my patience, my love." "No, I don't!" While this is happening, Cyborg, Jessica Cruz, and Mr. Miracle are preparing to break into Belle Reve, the prison, to free the crime syndicate, the evil versions of the Justice League from Earth 3. They've been confined to Belle Reve ever since they were stopped during the Forever Evil event. The crime syndicate fought the Anti-Monitor before, and the Justice League was hoping that they could help them defeat this threat. So while Mr. Miracle's wife, Barda, is distracting the guards, Mr. Miracle breaks into Ultraman's cell to ask him, "What does the Anti-Monitor want? Why is he here?" And Ultraman tells him, "To kill every last one of us." Elsewhere, Grail, the woman who started everything, the daughter of Darkseid and an Amazon, is now the wielder of the anti-life equation, and she's devising her own plan, and she's going to need Steve Trevor for it. Back at Belle Reve, Jessica and Cyborg are trying to free Superwoman when Jessica's ring begins to go crazy. You see, she isn't wielding a Green Lantern ring. She is wielding the power ring of Earth 3, the one that contains the soul of Voltham, and he has the ability to take control of its user, which he does, taking over Jessica Cruz's body, trapping her soul within the ring. And he informs Cyborg that he is returning, since the crime syndicate is now reunited. Back with Wonder Woman, she asks Superman, "Who are you?" while holding him down with the lasso of truth. "I'm Superman! Who are you?" "I'm Clark Kent," he says, fighting against the power. At that moment, Batman and the Green Lantern arrive, and Wonder Woman informs them that Superman is beginning to remember himself. But Batman tells them his cells are breaking down from that fire pit energy. He may be himself again, but he's far from fine. He's dying. Back at Belle Reve, Power Ring blasts the cell door open, freeing Superwoman, and she tells him, "Shh," as she holds her pregnant belly. The baby is trying to sleep. But Cyborg isn't about to let Power Ring take over Jessica Cruz, so he tries to hack into the ring, only to have it backfire, and it begins to hack into his own brain. It traps Victor Stone inside of the ring alongside Jessica Cruz, allowing Grid, another member of the crime syndicate, to take over his body again. Then, the wall explodes, with Owlman telling them that they need the Justice League if they're going to stop this threat, because the worst is still yet to come. After the Anti-Monitor defeated Darkseid, he sealed himself in a cocoon to separate himself from the anti-life equation. That's how Grail got her hands on the anti-life equation, turning himself back into the being that he was before all of this. Mobius, the original owner of the chair of knowledge that Batman is currently sitting on. And Mobius wants his chair. Without much hesitation, Superman delivers the kryptonite to Ultraman, allowing him to power back up. The crime syndicate has no intention of saving this Earth. They don't care about it, but they do want revenge against Mobius for destroying their Earth. Owlman agrees that at the end of this, they'll give back Jessica Cruz and Cyborg, as the two individuals are now fully controlled by Power Ring and Grid, but they have to win this battle. They head off, saving individuals caught in the blast of the anti-life equation's explosions that Mobius can control as he frees creatures to attack the citizens. Meanwhile, Hal Jordan and Power Ring begin to open fire with their constructs, because it's decided if Mobius gets in his chair, everyone is going to have some real problems soon. Luckily, Hal has already thought about asking for help, and the Green Lantern Corps arrives, blasting Mobius. He isn't a pushover though, as he causes another explosion, wiping out dozens of Green Lanterns. John Stewart lands side by side with Hal, and they keep trying to help, but that's when Superwoman and Wonder Woman throw their lassos on Mobius in an attempt to hold him down. While this is going on, Grail returns, holding the anti-life equation itself, as she took it when the Anti-Monitor separated from it, becoming Mobius again. And she grabs Steve Trevor, who is currently at the battlefield. Back with the fight though, Ultraman and Superman fly in, slamming Mobius with everything they have as the Amazons were thrown aside. But Mobius grabs Ultraman, burying his hands into his chest. Ultraman calls out for help from Flash, god of death, standing nearby, but Flash tells him, "I can't stop death. I can't even move." And Ultraman turns into dust as he dies. Mobius tells everyone, "That was satisfying. Who's next?" Behind everyone, there is a boom! As a boom tube is opened, and there stands Lex Luther, the new Darkseid, the god of apocalypse, with his army of parademons. Back with Wonder Woman, she looks over at a pregnant Superwoman, and Superwoman informs Diana that the baby is coming. Meanwhile, the Green Lanterns and Power Ring are tearing apart the dark creatures, attacking everyone, and Jessica Cruz is trying to call out for help from inside the ring that she is trapped in, but no one can hear her. Inside of this ring is every soul that Voltham has consumed. The spirits that Voltham keeps in there tell her that she can never leave. He'll punish us when he comes back if you leave. But that's when she hears a voice, one telling her that if she wants to save everyone, she needs to run for the power battery. And looking up, she sees a light. Her escape from this place. While in a separate location where Grail has brought Steve Trevor, she walks forward, kissing him, transferring the anti-life equation into him. Jessica runs and runs with the spirits of Voltham trapped, trying to hold her back until she reaches the central battery, and it is there that she sees the voice calling out to her. Victor Stone, Cyborg Soul. Wonder Woman tells the rest of the crime syndicate that they need to move Superwoman away from Mobius because she's giving birth, and Owlman tells Wonder Woman to get out of the way. The entire point of everything was for this baby. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor is tearing into Mobius with the powers of apocalypse, and Wonder Woman asks what's going on as Batman floats over in his chair to tell her that he knows. The chair knows. That's why Mobius wants it back, to learn what the secret weapon that Owlman is referring to is. It's the baby. On that note, Power Ring blasts both Batman and Wonder Woman away, and Owlman kneels down to Superwoman, telling her that he needs the baby. Mobius and Lex continue to slug it out, buildings falling down all around them, destruction all over, but Mobius then begins to use his demon creatures to attack Lex directly for him. Seeing everything failing, Mr. Miracle and Barda try to come up with a new plan, but Barda knows what she has to do. She tells Scott that she loves him, and then boom tubes away. Back in the fight, Superman runs into the battle full of the fire pit energy that is tearing him apart, but he has a better idea than trying to slug it out with Mobius, and he expels all of the energy into Mobius's face. It slightly hurt Mobius, but not as much as it hurt Superman, and he falls. Then Mobius runs at Lex while the Flash waits for death to arrive. Mobius shoves Lex into a car, crushing it, and then another boom tube goes off, and Grail returns with her mother and her new pet. Then there's a scream on the battlefield, and Hal Jordan can't help but ask Batman, "What is it now?" And then he tells him, it's a boy, as Superwoman is holding her child. Mobius looks over and he sees Grail's pet, Steve Trevor, imbued with the power of the anti-life equation. Steve begs Diana to help him, and then he unleashes everything onto Mobius, killing him. Everyone looks back in shock as the battlefield once again changes, with everyone about to fight Steve Trevor. Steve Trevor jumps in to fight against the League, the Corps, and Mr. Miracle with a chain around his neck, as Grail is still his master. He literally can't control himself as the power of the anti-life equation is firing off randomly, hitting his friends as he begs Diana for help. She tells him to pull through it. She knows that he can. He's stronger than this. And then Grail jumps on Batman's chair. He tries to tell her, "You've won. You killed your father. Why do you thirst for this power?" And then Shazam throws her off of Batman's chair, and all of the Green Lanterns try to contain her in a cage. But she breaks out of the construct, shouting, "I will not be caged!" She smirks, looking back at Wonder Woman. "Are you enjoying yourself?" And as Wonder Woman is battling against her former lover, he's begging for her to put him down. He knows that he can't contain this power. Lex Luthor jumps in, grabbing the chain, telling Wonder Woman to do it. "Kill this man!" But Superman grabs him. "No, Lex, the League never kills. You are naive, Superman. I have the power of the Omega effect. I will save this world myself." And as he shouts, there's an explosion of power. Superwoman, meanwhile, holds up her child and says the magical words, "Mazas!" Shazam backwards, and the magical word used by Alexander Luthor of Earth 3 to change into his version of Shazam, Mazas. And then at a stunning turn of events, the baby sucks the power of the Omega effect out of Lex Luthor, becoming a baby Darkseid, only to have his mother turn into dust as Steve Trevor blasts her with the anti-life equation, killing her. Grail walks over to the baby Darkseid and picks him up, holding him into the sky, stating the word Mazash at the Flash. While the power of death is not absorbed, it did separate the Black Racer from the Flash, turning him back into Barry Allen finally. The Black Racer looks around confused, and then he realizes that he still needs to take someone's life, as he's no longer bound to the Flash, and he begins to chase after the Flash. Meanwhile, inside of Power Ring's ring, Victor Stone and Jessica Cruz are trying to figure out how to get out of the ring, and Vic has finally figured out how to hack the ring. With the fear that she's been suffering finally gone, Jessica tells Vic to send her back. She can fight her fears, and she takes over her body just in time to get into the Flash's path as the Black Racer is about to grab him and take his soul, allowing the Black Racer to take her life instead of the Flash's. She hits the ground dead, and Barry is in shock. But the Black Racer says, "A life has been taken," and he leaves the area. area. Barry kneels down to hold Jessica close, and Wonder Woman tells everyone that they need to end this. But Grail tells them, today, she is the God Killer. Today, all of your gods will die. And Superman asks her, gods? We were never gods. As the entire League and the entire Corps leap in to fight against her, she jumps and dodges and then decides that she'll take the anti-life equation back, pointing her magic-stealing baby at Steve Trevor. But with the power of all of the gods and the anti-life equation inside of the baby, Darkseid is reborn. While he is reborn, he is still a slave to Grail, and she demands that he incinerate the League. Everyone throws everything at him, but he ignores everything and keeps using his Omega beams on everyone there. Batman reaches down into his chair looking for answers, but it hurts him more and more as he seeks deeper and deeper answers. And that's when Hal Jordan has an idea. Batman, you just need a little bit of willpower to get off of that chair. And he throws his ring to Batman, who puts it on, and using the willpower that the ring is granting him, pulls himself off of the chair, freeing himself finally from the hold the chair had on him. As Grail walks over to a normal Hal Jordan to finish him off, Barda and the Furies boom tube onto the planet to begin battling against Grail. They refuse to let her desecrate their Lord Darkseid. And while they fight against Grail, Hal helps Batman up, asking what was the chair's answer to Darkseid. Owlman steps over, taking the chair and telling Grid, release Cyborg so that you can download into the chair and join me. Then, Owlman and Grid leave the battlefield as the only two members of the crime syndicate left. Meanwhile, Wonder Woman and Grail's own mother battle it out with Grail because Grail's mother didn't want this, while everyone else is fighting against Darkseid. At that time, Batman shouts out, Diana, the chair told me that the anti-life equation is causing all of this. We have to separate it from Darkseid to disperse all of his energy. So Diana and Grail's mother tie down Grail with their lassos, and her mother holds her close, telling her, let go of your rage. Unleash your rage through me. So Grail opens her eyes, letting her own Omega beams fire through her mother and into Darkseid, separating him from the anti-life equation. The explosion is massive and everyone is thrown aside, but Darkseid is defeated. Steve apologizes to Diana for everything that he just did, and everyone looks at Jessica, their fallen friend. Hal comments how in the end, she wasn't Power Ring, she was a Green Lantern. And that's when a ring lifts up and it announces, Jessica Cruz of Earth, you have the ability to overcome great fear. You have been chosen. Welcome to the Green Lantern Corps. You see, the soul that was taken by the Black Racer wasn't Jessica's, it was Voltham's, the soul that controlled the Power Ring, freeing Jessica from the grasp that he had on her. Mr. Miracle went over to Barda, his wife, to ask her what now, but she agreed to lead the Furies if they helped her, and now she has to return to Apocalypse, away from him. Grail also wasn't defeated, as she did escape with the baby Darkseid. Superman's cells were permanently damaged, and he got news that he never thought he'd hear. He's dying, but that's a story that we're going to cover soon. And lastly, Hal went to see Batman to ask what the chair said about the Joker. And Batman tells him, the ring didn't know who I was talking about, since there are apparently 3 Jokers. And that is the conclusion to Darkseid War. Now, there is an epilogue, where Owlman finds Metron on the moon, and while they do talk about what was summoned with this explosive amount of power, something out of the multiverse kills them. But that's related to Rebirth, and we'll get to that eventually. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget you can get more comic books by going to our manga channel, Comicstorian, where we bring you manga every Monday and Friday, and we do have a gaming channel where we bring you highlights of our streams and gaming comic books every Friday. That's Eligible Monster. Follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian, and don't forget the team wrote a book about comic book movies. You can find the link to pre-order that down below. We really do appreciate your support. Have a good day.